Alrighty, folks, you know I'm feeling great on a Saturday morning because Chairman members cashed in on 5 more games on my premium site yesterday. We had the Mariners, Reds, Royals, Astros, and we also had the Pirates plus 1.5 on the run line. And the only way you could have accessed all those winners is to join my Chairman package on my premium page. It's also going to put us at 4-0 in our last 4 Major League Baseball tier package picks on that very same site. And just a quick reminder, if you sign up for any one of my memberships on my premium page, you're going to get access to that package every single day for the next 30 days. As an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to my Major League Baseball free pick video here today for Saturday, July 27th, 2024. Happy Saturday to you. Hopefully you had a great start to your weekend. And as always, my name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks right here on YouTube since 2016. And if you want to see which one of these free plays on this video that I actually like the best, you may want to think about signing up for that Major League Baseball tier package play I was just talking about. Of course, if you're on the fence about signing up, maybe a little skeptical, but you do want to give this thing a try or at least kind of dip your toes in the water, you could think about joining my daily best play. You'll get 1 premium selection of mine every single day for the next 30 days. The math works out to be just 6 cents a day. And with that, folks, we got ourselves a huge slate of games, actually 16 games to bet on here today. So let's go ahead and dive into it. We're going to start off with the Rangers at the Blue Jays. That'll be a 3:07 Eastern first pitch. Toronto's minus $1.40, totals 8.5. Kevin Gausman for Toronto, Michael Lorenzen for Texas. And Lorenzen's got a handful of wins for the Rangers with an ERA in the 3s. Now, Texas also got the W in 7 out of their last 10, and they've done a nice job against Toronto pitching. They're averaging 6.7 runs a game in their last 10 head-to-head gatherings. Josh Smith has an on-base percentage in the high 300s. Marcus Semion's got the most hits. And they're facing Kevin Gausman, who's got 8 losses on the year and an ERA of 4.55. Of course, at the plate, the Jays just haven't been good enough in Rogers Center. These guys are in the bottom 5 in runs per game in their own building. Now, injury-wise, Connor Falefa and Bichette, they are still out for the Jays. Evan Carter inactive for Texas. 2 out of the Rangers' last 3 road games did stay under the total. They're also 60% to the under in their last 10 at any location. Give me the Rangers plus 1.5, under 8.5 runs. Next game, Padres Orioles, 4:05 Eastern first pitch. San Diego's $1.20, totals 8.5. Michael King for the Pods, Dean Kramer for Baltimore. And even though Kramer really hasn't been overly dominating, he still has a respectable 1.22 whip. And really, when you have a lineup as good as Baltimore behind you, well, you really don't have to pitch shutouts day in and day out. Baltimore is the second highest run-producing team in baseball. Anthony Santander now leads the organization in homers and RBI. He's actually got the 3rd most homers in the major leagues. And Gunnar Henderson leads the clubhouse in hits. And they're facing a Padres squad who really hasn't scored much for Michael King lately. Out of King's last 3 starts, the Friars put up just 5 total runs in those games. And these San Diego pitchers, they've certainly had their hands full with Baltimore recently. They've allowed 53 total runs in their last 10 head-to-head gatherings. Now, injury-wise, Tatis is out for the Pods, Mateo inactive for Baltimore. 7 out of the O's last 10 ball games did get over the total. They're also 11-5 to the over in their interleague home games. Give me the O's plus $1, over 8.5. Next game, Braves Mets, 4:10 Eastern first pitch. The Mets are minus $1.15, totals 8 runs. Tyler McGill for the Mets, Spencer Schwellenbach for the Braves. Now, Schwelly's just 3-5 on the year with an ERA of 4.62. And this Braves lineup, they've definitely had problems hitting the ball away from Truist Park. These guys are in the bottom 10 in hits per game on the road. And they're facing Tyler McGill here today, who has 49 strikeouts in 39 innings. And I tell you what, this Mets pitching staff is definitely thrown well at Citi Field for the most part. They've got a lot of strikeouts at home, and they're allowing only 7.5 hits a game. Of course, at the plate, the Mets now find themselves a top 5 run-producing team in the National League. Francisco Lindor leads the clubhouse in homers and hits. Brandon Nimmo's got the most RBI. When it comes to the injury list, Harrison Bader's questionable for the Mets. Marte is out. Meanwhile, for the Braves, Merrifield's questionable for them. Albies inactive. 3 out of the Mets' last 4 in Flushing, Queens got over the total. They're also 60% to the over in their last 10. Give the Mets minus $1.15, over 8. Next game, Reds, Rays, 4:10 Eastern start time. Tampa Bay is minus $1.30, totals 8 runs. Zach Littell for Tampa Bay, Andrew Abbott for Cincinnati. And the lefty Abbott's just 1 win shy of double digits for the year. Got himself an ERA in the low 3s. And these Cincy pitchers have been tough to hit against away from home. They actually lead the major leagues in fewest hits allowed while traveling. Sam Moll has a .96 whip out of the bullpen. Farmer with an ERA in the 2s. And they're facing a Tampa squad who's got a losing record in St. Petersburg. They're actually a bottom 3 run-producing team in their own building. Of course, on the mound, Zach Littell, he's just 3-7 with an ERA in the mid-4s. Now, total-wise, the Rays' last 3 straight at the Trop did stay under the total. They're also 8-5 to the under in their last 13 interleague home games. Give me the Reds plus $1.10, under 8. Next game, Guardians, Phillies, 6:05 Eastern start time. Philadelphia's minus $1.55, totals 9 runs. Tyler Phillips for the Titans, Carlos Carrasco for Cleveland. And even though Carrasco's numbers have been a bit ratchet, the Guardians as a team, they did get the W in 4 out of his last 8 starts. It was actually 6.3 runs a game they averaged in those victories. Of course, at the plate, the Guardians have been a tough team to strike out. They're fanning only 7.3 times a game on average. That particular stat puts them in the top 5 in the league in that particular category. Stephen Kwan bats .340, which is the second highest qualifying batting average in the major leagues. Jose Ramirez, he's the club leader in hits and also ranks second in the bigs in RBI behind Aaron Judge. And they're facing a struggling Philly squad who lost 7 out of their last 10. And they really haven't hit the ball well over the past week or so. Out of their last 6 ball games, the Phils averaged under 3 runs a game. And in their last 10 meetings with the Guardians, well, Cleveland held them to just 6.8 hits a game. So if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. Now, total-wise, 6 out of those 10 meetings I just mentioned did stay under the total. Meanwhile, the Guardians saw their last 3 straight on the road stay under the line themselves. 8-2 to the under in their last 10 at any location. Give me Cleveland plus 1.5, under 9. All right, next game, Twins-Tigers, 6:10 Eastern start time. Minnesota's minus $1.20, total 7. Joe Ryan for the Twins, Tarek Skubal for the Tigers. And I tell you what, it's real tough for me to fade Scoobs in this spot here. He's now 11-3 on the season with 146 strikeouts. And I'll tell you what, equally as impressive, the lefty's got himself an ERA in the low 2s, along with a sub-1 whip. And out of 15 divisional home games this year, the Tigers currently have a win percentage of .600. And they're taking on a Minnesota squad who lost 4 out of their last 7 themselves. And they really haven't been overly selective at the dish. They're walking just 2.8 times a game at the plate. Kyle Farmer and Manny Margot, they've got on-base percentages in the 200s. And I tell you what, as solid as Joe Ryan's been on the hill, the Twins don't want to win for the guy. Minnesota's gone 3-6 in their last 9 Joe Ryan starts. Now, injury-wise, Correa, Farmer, Kirilloff, and Miranda are still out for the Twins. Meanwhile, for Detroit, Green and Meadows, they're inactive for them. When it comes to the total, 3 out of Minnesota's last 5 road games did stay under the total. Meanwhile, Detroit went 6-3 to the under in their last 9 Tarek Skubal starts. Give me Detroit plus $1, under 7. Next matchup, Rockies-Giants, Game 1. That's going to be a 7:05 Eastern first pitch. San Francisco's minus 230, total 7.5. Blake Snell for San Francisco, Ryan Feltner for Colorado. Now, Felty's just 1-10 on the year with an ERA in the 5s. And even if he does decide to pitch well here today, there is a good chance he'll get little to no run support. The Rockies are currently a bottom 5 run-scoring team in their travels, and they're going to face Blake Snell, who still averages over a strikeout an inning despite some tumultuous outings. And, of course, as a team, the Giants, this lineup did put up 23 total runs in their last 3 games. Jorge Soler, he was a perfect 3 for 3 last night with a couple of walks and 4 runs scored. And Tyler Fitzgerald, he scored 3 times yesterday against the Rockies and had a pair of home runs. Now, one more thing to note here. The Giants have been pretty good in their divisional home games. They're actually 11-6 against the NL West in their own ballpark. When it comes to the injury list, Flores, Estrada, and Luciano, they're all out for the Giants. Nolan Jones inactive for Colorado. When it comes to the total, the Giants' last 4 straight on the road did get over the total. They're also 60% to the over in their last 10 at any location. Give me the Giants minus 1.5, over 7.5 runs. All right, next game, Cubs, Royals, 7:10 Eastern start time. Kansas City is minus $1.20, totals 8 runs. Seth Lugo for the Royals, Shota Imanaga for Chicago. And even though Imanaga's been outstanding, the Cubbies have certainly had all kinds of problems producing runs. They've actually been shut out 3 times in their last 6 ball games. And out of starting pitcher Shota Imanaga's last 7 starts, the Cubs have mustered up only 3.4 runs a game on average. And unfortunately for them, they have to face Seth Lugo here today, who's 12-4 with an ERA in the low 2s. He's also got 122 strikeouts and a 1.04 whip. Of course, at the plate, the Royals continue to hit it well at Kauffman Stadium. They average more runs a game at home than any other lineup besides one. Bobby Witt Jr. has the highest qualifying batting average in the major leagues. Salvi Perez, he's got the most RBI. When it comes to the injury list, Melendez is out for the Royals. Nitto and Bellinger inactive for Chicago. Now, 7 out of the Cubs' last 10 ball games did fall under the total. Meanwhile, Kansas City went 8-2 to the under in their last 10. Give me the Royals minus $1.20, under 8. Next game, Dodgers, Astros, 7:10 Eastern first pitch. Houston's minus $1.45, totals 9. Ronel Blanco for the Stros, Justin Wrobleski for Los Angeles. And through just 14-plus innings of work this year, the lefty Wrobleski's got an ERA in the mid-4s. Of course, as a team, the Dodgers did lose 2 out of their last 3, and that includes a 5-0 shutout to Houston just yesterday. And they're going to have to face Ronel Blanco, who's 9-5 with an ERA in the 3s. Right, he's also got 105 strikeouts and a .99 whip. And I'll tell you what, these Houston pitchers, they've definitely slung it well at Minute Maid Park this year. The Stros are allowing under 7.6 hits a game in their own stadium. And of course, at the plate, the Stros continue to get base runners. They currently lead the major leagues in hits per game. Jose Altuve bats .307, leads the roster in hits. And Yordan Alvarez, he has the most homers on the team, OPS in the 900s. Now, at the moment, the Astros have a .667 win percentage in their interleague home games. And when it comes to the injury report, Tucker's still out for the Stros. Freeman's questionable for the Dodgers. Now, 6 out of LA's last 10 meetings with Houston did get over the total. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. Give me the Astros minus 145, over 9. Next game, Marlins Brewers, 7:10 Eastern first pitch. Milwaukee's minus $1.65, totals 8 runs. Aaron Savali for the Brewers, Max Meyer for Miami. And tell you what, Myers looked good in a short body of work. He's got a 2.12 ERA through 17 innings, along with a .82 whip. And out of Miami's last 10 meetings with Milwaukee, they've held the Brewers to just 3.9 runs a game. And more recently, Milwaukee's had a tough time getting on the scoreboard. Out of their last 4 outings, the Brewers averaged only 1.7 runs a game. Now, injury-wise, Yelich and Dunn are out for the Brewers. Dane Myers inactive for Miami. 6 out of the Marlins' last 10 ball games did fall under the total. Give the Marlins plus 1.5, under 8. All right, next game, little AL East action here. Yankees Red Sox, 7:15 Eastern first pitch. Boston is minus $1.20 at home. Totals 9.5. Cutter Crawford for the Bo Sox. Marcus Stroman for the Yankees. Now, Stroman's got 7 wins on the year with an ERA in the 3s. And as bad as they've been recently, the Yankees still do a good piece of hitting away from home. These guys are a top 3 run-producing team in their travels. Aaron Judge leads the majors in homers, RBI, and OPS. And Juan Soto has been walked 83 times and has an OPS in the thousands. They're going to face a Boston club who definitely does not like to win for Cutter Crawford. The righty somehow has a losing 6-8 record despite a really good year. The Bo Sox have also performed mediocre at Fenway Park. They actually lost 8 out of their last 13 divisional home games. Now, total-wise, the Bo Sox have gone 10-3 to the over in those divisional home games I just mentioned. Meanwhile, New York's gone 67% to the over in their road games against the AL East. Give me the Yankees plus $1, over 9.5. All right, next game, Mariners White Sox, 7:15 Eastern start time. Seattle's minus $1.45, total 7.5. Brian Wu for the M's, Eric Fetty for Chicago. And as good as Fetty's been, well, I just can't trust the White Sox to do the right thing. They lost their last dozen ball games, and they averaged only 1.6 runs a game during that stretch. They're facing Brian Wu, who's 4-1 with an ERA in the 2s. Now, the righty's also got himself a stingy .87 whip. Of course, these Mariner pitchers have been very tough to hit against this year. They allow fewer hits per contest than any other staff in the league. Austin Voth has a sub-1 whip out of the bullpen. Munoz with an ERA of 1.35. Now, injury-wise, Rodriguez and Canzoni are out for the Mariners. The newly acquired Randy Arozarena could potentially suit up here. 7 out of the Mariners' last 10 ball games did fall under the line. Meanwhile, Chicago went 7-3 to the under in their last 10. Give me the Mariners minus 145, under 7.5. Next contest, Nationals Cardinals, 7:15 East. St. Louis is $1.45, totals 8.5. Kyle Gibson for the Cards, Jake Irvin for Washington. And as solid as Irvin's been, well, he comes into today's contest with a losing 7-8 record on the year. And I'll tell you what, a lot of that has to do with these Washington bats. The Nationals are a bottom 10 run-producing team on the road. And they're facing a 7-3 Kyle Gibson, who has 102 strikeouts and an ERA in the 3s. And out of the Cardinals' last 10 gatherings with the Nats, they average nearly a dozen hits a game at the dish, definitely hitting that national pitching well. Brendan Donovan leads the clubhouse in hits. Burleson with the most runs batted in. Now, the Cards' last 4 straight at Busch Stadium got over the total. Meanwhile, Washington went 60% to the over in their last 10. Give me the Cardinals minus 145, over 8.5. Next game, Pirates D-backs, 8:10 Eastern start time. Arizona's minus $1.80, totals 8 runs. Brandon Pfaadt for the D-backs, Marco Gonzalez for Pittsburgh. And through 26-plus innings of work this year, the lefty Gonzalez has shown some pretty good stuff. He currently has an ERA of 2.70. Meanwhile, on the run line, the Bucks have been covering machines recently. They successfully cashed in on the run line in their last 4 straight on the road. They're also 7-3 against the number in their last 10. They're taking on a Diamondbacks club who failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4 at Chase Field. For some reason, these guys just don't want to win for starting pitcher Brandon Pfaadt. He's got a 4-6 record on the year despite some really good numbers. Now, 3 out of the D-backs' last 4 at Chase Field got over the total. And out of their last 10 meetings with Pittsburgh, the over cashed in 60% of those ball games. So once again, if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. Give me the Pirates plus 1.5 over 8.5. All right, next contest, little AL West action. A's, Angels, 9:38 East. The Angels are minus $1.25, totals 9 runs. Tyler Anderson for the Angels, Mitch Spence for Oakland. Now, the righty Spence has a handful of wins on this season, does not have a losing record either. And out of the A's last 9 ball games, well, they got the W in all of those contests except for 2. And believe it or not, they pounded the baseball during that stretch. The A's averaged 7.6 runs a game during that time frame. And they're facing Tyler Anderson, who's recorded 8 losses and does not have a winning record himself. I'll tell you what, when playing the AL West, the Angels do have a losing record against their divisional foes. Now, injury-wise, Ruiz and Soderstrom are still out for Oakland. 3 out of the A's last 4 ball games did get over the number. They're also 8-2 to the over in their last 10. Give me Oakland plus 105 over 9. With that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. It's going to be Rockies-Giants Game 2, and that'll be a 10:35 Eastern start time. San Francisco's the $2 favorite in Game 2, totals 8 runs. Hayden Birdsong for the Giants, Tanner Gordon for the Rockies. And the righty Gordon has an ERA in the double digits and has only 9 1/3 innings of work under his belt, so doing a lot of damage to his team in a very short body of work. Meanwhile, the Giants on the other side, Hayden Birdsong, he's 2-0 with an ERA in the 3s. Give me the Giants minus 1.5 over 8 in Game 2. And with that, folks, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap. Give me the Rangers plus 1.5 under 8.5 runs. Baltimore plus $1 over 8.5. I'm 4-0 my last 4 Major League Baseball tier package picks on my premium site. Give me the Mets minus $1.15 over 8. Cincinnati plus $1.10 under 8 runs. Cleveland plus 1.5 under 9. Tigers plus $1 under 7. I like the Giants minus 1.5 over 7.5 runs in Game 1. Kansas City minus $1.20 under 8. Houston minus 145 over 9 runs. Miami plus 1.5 under 8. Yankees plus $1 over 9.5. Mariners minus 145 under 7.5 runs. Cardinals minus 145 over 8.5. Pittsburgh plus 1.5 over 8.5. Oakland plus 105 over 9 runs. Give me the Giants minus 1.5 over 8 in Game 2. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium page. Now, if you do end up getting a membership here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. But most importantly, folks, got to thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, folks, happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium page at patreon.com/BrockPage.